Kelly, big fight, main event, Mikey Garcia, Jessie-Vargas. What's your outlook on this fight?
Oh man, it's going to be a good one. I'm a fan of both guys. Obviously, you know Mikey Garcia, me training with his family in Oxnard, and Jessie-Vargas, I got to meet and hang out with. Great guys, and it's hard for me to pick on that because of that. But I see it being an interesting fight. I see Jessie-Vargas's natural size advantage is going to play a big role in that, and then on the flip side, Mikey's skill set and everything. That's going to be a big part. So I think it's going to equal out, and I think it's going to be a great fight.
Do you expect this one to be kind of a tactical boxing contest, or can this be one of those slugfest Morales-Barrera type deals?
No, Jessie-Vargas is a ballsy fighter. You know what I mean? So Jesse's going to do what it takes to win a fight. Mikey's a very smart fighter, but Mikey's also showed that, you know, that when the time's right, he could turn it up. But I see it being a fight that goes to decision. It's interesting, and we'll see what happens.
Now, I know both fighters both have sharp jabs. Is this going to be a situation where whoever establishes the sharper jab in this fight will have the upper hand?
I don't really think so. I think a battle of nutrition is going to be part of this fight. Who could go the longest, and you know, with their conditioning and everything else, and who can be stronger at the end of the fight is going to be the one that pulls away with the decision.
Kelly, frankly, who do you give the edge to?
I have to give it to Mikey, as far as, you know, with the skill set and everything else. But again, taking nothing away from Jesse. Jesse's shown that he's a ballsy fighter that comes and that he can win the fight. So again, with Jesse's size advantage, which is very noticeable, that makes it really hard pick. But I have to lean towards Mikey Garcia.
Now, if Mikey does put on a nice performance, do you think he can be a legitimate contender at 147?
I think that he could make some noise at 147. I think his greatest weight class, or where he's going to perform the best, is going to be at 140. But again, Mikey is the type of guy who's already won, 4 weight divisions. He's proved everything, and Mikey dares to be great. I mean, he does, and nobody can deny that. If anybody does, then they're just biased, and you know, that's how it is. But Mikey's showed his guts and balls and his heart, and he's jumped up weight classes and fought the best in that weight class and done things that other fighters haven't done. So if he wants to stay at 47, I think with his skill set and everything, yeah, he could maybe hang or maybe win another title, depending on who he fights. But I think if he goes back down to 140, Mikey could reign for a long time there.
Definitely. Now I want to get your take on this last subject. What did you make of the Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury fight? A great performance for Tyson Fury.
I thought it was a great performance by him. Yeah, you know, he had a strategy going in, and a lot of people didn't believe it. You know, on my podcast, we talked about it, and people were saying that he's going to go in and back up Wilder and try to knock him out. I didn't think that. You know, I heard it. I didn't think he was going to do it, but that weight that he put on, he used it to his advantage. I mean, that was a very, very smart fight. Would it work again if he did it? Probably not, but he surprised them. You know, it was a shock and awe kind of thing, and he went in there and performed. Great fight.
Does that performance put Fury head and shoulders above all the other heavyweights in the division?
It's hard to say that, especially in the heavyweight division. When you're that big, when you're over 200 pounds, anything can happen, one punch. But I think Fury right now definitely is one of the top heavyweights. And I personally think that he would beat Joshua, and I think it's a smart fight for him to take next instead of dancing around. And, yeah, I think he's definitely the top heavyweight.
Would you advise Deontay to take the trilogy match? And what did you make of him and his excuse that his costume was a little bit too heavy for him?
He had a handful of excuses, but who knows? I mean, we truly don't know. He might be right. If I was him, you know, a couple of my losses, I had, you know, legitimate reasons that happened, but I didn't say them because the only thing you're doing is setting yourself up for the media and for the fans to come down on you hard. You know, in a situation like that, I think Wilder just moved on to the next one and say that he learned from his mistakes and things that happened. So,
after getting beat up like he did, last question, do you think Wilder can come back and make a shot at the heavyweight title once again?
Absolutely. I mean, he was in a dogfight. You know, and he got the bloody ear and his mouth was a little beat up, but he got dropped one time and he got back up. So it wasn't like a real bad beating. I mean, he got his ass whooped. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's enough to ruin him, you know, or any mental. I think that's a big issue in boxing. People think when a guy loses a fight and he gets beat up in it that he's done, you know, or some person took it out of him. You're not giving the fighters a lot of credit. Fighters is what we do this for young kids and what we do for a living, and that's not always the case.
What did you make of Mark Breland throwing in the towel and Deontay being highly critical of him throwing in the towel? He wanted to go out on his shield.
Thought it was a great call. I mean, if he stopped that fight, the round before, I think that still would have been good. You know, we've seen this year in boxing how brutal it is. And, I mean, I understand the referee, it was a hard call for the referee because Wilder is one of them type of guys that can end the fight. Even if he's getting his ass whipped or not, it just takes that one punch. But at the same time, you can see the damage to the air, the equilibrium, his mouth. I mean, I thought it was a good stoppage.